Hello, my name is Christian Swenson. I do videos here on YouTube about autism, autistic consciousness, and life on the autism spectrum. Last time I did a video on why I think autism should not exist. Not the behaviors, not the people, but the word. The word autism should be retired. But we are stuck with the word, and I will keep using it. And I will kind of go the other direction in this video, and in fact dive deep into the DSM-5's criteria for autism, for the autism spectrum disorder. Kind of analyze it, right? And you can think of this video as a checklist for, do you have autism or not? We'll go into that. This video is really my attempt to explain the autism checklist. So there you go. I have it pulled up right here. I haven't figured out how to share a screen, so I'll just read it to you and write on my whiteboard. There are two categories, a set of 3 and a set of 4, right? A set of 3 and 4, right? The 3, you need all of the 3, and you need 2 of the 4 to be autistic, okay? You need those to be, so here's the first one of the 3. Deficits in social-emotional reciprocity, ranging, for example, from abnormal social approach and failure of back and forth conversation to reduced sharing of interests, emotions, or affect, to failure to initiate or respond to social interactions. So this is like, I don't have the right timing, right? Yeah, you speak, and then before you're done, I start speaking, right? There's not that instinct to know, oh, this is, I'm going to feel out. That you don't have that, and that's one of the symptoms, the criteria for autism. But it's also just not feeling the need for friends, not knowing how conversations work. Maybe I'm really up close to you, and the people are like, you're really close. And, oh, I didn't realize. You know, that's something that can be a part of autism. It could be you dominate the conversation, or you don't speak at all, or you say inappropriate things at inappropriate times. You don't notice the context. You don't read the room. So we could sum that up by saying that the first criteria of the 3, I hope that is awkwardness, right? Awkwardness. Now number 2, what's number 2? Deficits in nonverbal communicative behaviors used for social interaction, ranging, for example, there's the for example again, from poorly integrated verbal and nonverbal communication to abnormalities in eye contact and body language, or deficits in understanding and use of gestures, to a total lack of facial expressions and nonverbal communication. I like what they said about integrating verbal and nonverbal. You know, it's like we use our hands, but is it matching, or is the tone of our voice matching with what's coming through in the words of the voice, right? Is the body language, is all that synced up, or is it just all over the place? That, if it's not, would be a requirement for autism. Or maybe it could be just you avoid eye contact. The eyes feel like they're way too intense. They're burning. They prevent you from thinking. You can't talk when you're looking in the eye. That would be a non-verbal thing. And you can't be verbal when you are communicating non-verbally, right? You can't use gestures, and maybe you can't even use your facial expressions. You know, maybe it's always resting fish face, you know, something like that. And then the third, so we could say this one is, how would I non-verbally challenged. We could say that. And then what's number 3? Awkwardness. We'll just say awkward. We'll make these into adjectives. Awkward, non-verbally challenged. And then the third one is deficits in developing, maintaining, and understanding relationships, ranging, for example, from difficulties adjusting behavior to suit various social contexts, to difficulties in sharing imaginative play or making friends, to absence of interest in peers, right? We could sum that up by saying, in one way or another, whether by choice or not, loner, right? Something like that. Maybe you want friends, but it's hard to make them, and maybe you don't want friends, right? Doesn't mean you can't have friends, and I've talked about that, right? You can't understand relationships, you find it hard to understand, to maintain, etc. And so that's the 3. You need the 3. But what's the 4? And you need 2 of these 4. Let's see how it goes. Restrict, here's the first one. And basically this is social things, and this is rigid things, right? So basically you could sum up autism by saying it's an asocial, rigid disorder. And you know, just as a side note, people don't like the word disorder. I do. I like being disordered. Because, you know, disorder is chaos, and we all need a little bit of chaos. We need to disorder some things. We need to disorganize some things. So the first one is stereotyped or repetitive motor movements, use of objects or speech. I don't know if you've noticed, but I do this a lot, and I say "you know" a lot, or "right," or you know, that type of thing. It's the bouncing the ball, it's the using the fidget cube, it's flapping, it's any kind of stimming, and so you could call this stimming, right? The 5th one is insistence on sameness, inflexible adherence to routines, and ritualized patterns of verbal or nonverbal behavior. For example, extreme distress at small changes. When they move the furniture, entirely different room, you panic, right? Difficulties with transitions. You walk outside the supermarket, it's no longer daytime, you panic. Rigid thinking patterns. If this doesn't work, nothing will work ever. Black and white thinking. Greeting rituals. Maybe you do something very specific to greet someone or to say goodbye. Need to take the same route or eat the same food every day. I've seen that happen. And so we could call this ritual, perhaps, or inflexibility. And then, number 3, or 6 as the case may be, highly restricted, fixated interests that are abnormal in intensity or focus. For example, strong attachment to or preoccupation with unusual object, excessively circumscribed or perseverated interests. Now, let me explain those words. Circumscribed means contained and enclosed, right? Perseverative mean repeated, you know, repetitious, right? And so you could say that I'm obsessed with ceiling fans. I'm obsessed with marble movies. This is the special interest, and that's all right. The special interest. Let me just erase this, because we need all of the ones above. Sorry. And we need 2 of these. And 4, hyper or hypo reactivity to sensory input or unusual interest in sensory aspects of the environment. For example, apparent indifference to pain, temperature, adverse response to specific sounds or textures, excessive smelling or touching of objects, or visual fascination with lights or movement. And, you know, this is being overstimulated or understimulated. This is the lights being too bright. This is hearing the fluorescent lights. This is feeling the tag of your shirt on your skin. This is not being able to tolerate necklaces or keys. This is only being able to eat certain kinds of food because you can't take the textures of other kinds. It's not being able to be in a room with tension or with too much happening at once. Or It's needing to constantly have deep pressure. It's needing to always find something to do with your hands. It is finding great relief from hanging upside down. All of those things are this. And so we could basically say sensory weirdness. So basically, I would say that if you fit these criteria, if you fit all of these, and you fit 2 of these, you're autistic. Congratulations. You should watch my other video, because you're not autistic if you see the other video. I'm so changeable if you've seen Sherlock. So, but yeah, this is fun. So, my name's Christian Swenson. I do videos here on YouTube, like I said in the beginning, about autism, autistic consciousness, and life on the autism spectrum. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, and turn on the bell. People say that, and I've not said that yet. So, and I'll post another video this week. Take care.